Hi. So I forgot to film an intro or make an intro or do anything. You would think that I've never seen a YouTube video, but this is where we are. So that girl who sneezed, that's me. November. I am the owner and maker behind Santana Co. And I am going to be using the next 30 days to learn, share, grow, mostly learn, and share. I plan to do this by creating studio vlogs, answering whatever questions I can, and showing just kind of how we're doing things. Santana Co. is a custom cup or gift business. The number of times I've had to explain this in the past couple of weeks, you would think I would have it down pat. I still don't. But anyways, let's rewind. Let's go back to where we were. Studio vlog number 1. As you can see here, I am picking out music to listen to while I work. That's also why we're doing a voiceover style kind of recording, because copyrights, you know. So yeah, today I mostly worked on keychains, and then I did have a couple of cups to work on. Always cups, you know. My days are really repetitive, so I don't know how actually interesting this series will be, but I do really enjoy watching this kind of content, and it's fun to make. Like I said, though, I'm learning, so camera angles, camera styles, all kinds of different things. So I'm mostly playing with different tripods and angles. I feel like I already said that, but yeah. Anyways, here I am putting some keychain templates from my acrylic blank vendor into Design Space. I have a Cricut Explorer Air 2, and that's what I use for all of my vinyl cutting. I got those patterned vinyls off Amazon a couple of years ago, so yeah, I could try to find them, but I doubt they're still there. They're from some random vendor when patterned vinyl was really hard to find. This is my vinyl storage. I thought that I wanted to use some, then I didn't, then I did. That's how it goes in my world. Actually, JK, I one did. So the scraps are in the top. I keep all of my scraps, big or small. I mean, if they get smaller than maybe like half inch, and then I kind of throw them out. But if they're bigger than that, I keep them, because you never know when you're gonna need it. I had already actually input this all into Design Space and then had to redo it. So I had already done the placements, but I redo it later. But this is how I do my, when I need like multicolored vinyl. Sometimes I do separate mats, but usually I just do it like this, where I put it all on one mat and lay it out like this, as I'm showing here. Obviously, this mat isn't very sticky. You can see the pink hollow vinyl is lifting. That's okay. I just deal with it. I also sometimes like using this method. I mean, I stack the vinyl in there and call it good. It just needs to cut it. Yeah, so this is where I went back and I'm showing placing it. So I take where it is on the mat and I place it there in the digital mat. Anyways, while I'm doing that, I've been using the Cricut software for years. I mean, I would say it's fairly intuitive, but it's also not at the same time. If you're familiar with something like Photoshop or, I don't know, even things like Canva or PicMonkey, there's a learning curve with everything. I don't know that one software is necessarily easier than another. And they've definitely made some major improvements to Design Space in the past couple of years. So I loaded it, then I accidentally hit the wrong button, and then I like squished the mat or something. I don't know, anyways. And then you can see where it was lifting up. I just went in and pushed it down. My Cricut is far out of its warranty. So I'm at the point now where I think I put my fingers in it because I'm dumbass. But usually I just take like a weeding tool and shove that in there and hold it down until it cuts that part of it. I don't recommend doing that unless you know what you're doing, I guess. One of the other options would be getting a new mat, obviously, or resticking the mat, which I don't do. So this is just how I deal until this mat doesn't stick anymore. And then this is the Cricut cutting everything. Like I said, I've used the Cricut for a couple of years. And our cup business, we've been making custom cups and decals for over 2 years. I think almost 3 years. Yeah. So I'm not a beginner. When I was weeding these, I got this holographic vinyl off Amazon, and I really like it. Holographic vinyl is usually really finicky and irritating, but this one hasn't been so far. I've been using it for a while. I also have this UV resin, which part of the whole thing is messed up because I found out that I think that UV resin is bad. I don't really know. At some point later, I show the light that I'm using, that I bought, that got delivered. Thank you, Amazon Prime. But yeah, so these are acrylic keychains. They're fun. This part is not fun. Lining it up just so. Ugh, that's just makes me frustrated all over again. Anyways, while I am doing this, what do you want to know? What do the people want to know? What do people want to know about new businesses? So we are based in Dallas, or the Dallas area in Texas, and that's it. I don't know. No, I know there's a lot more. My husband helps me with the business stuff. He helps with the web stuff mostly. We run 100% through e-commerce. So we don't do in-person sales. I mean, we have signed up for a craft event, but pandemic. And because of that, we don't know how that's gonna go, but yeah. So we are from Florida, and my husband and I have been married for 3 years, so he's very used to helping out with weeding decals and stuff like that. It's always really fun when he comes in and helps with the more creative side. But yeah, so we use Shopify for our web stuff. I feel like I'm going to use a term wrong, and then my husband will be like, that's not what it's called. So I'm going to avoid calling it anything. But yeah, so we use Shopify because that's the one he picked. Maybe I'll get him to talk about that if anybody was interested. We are avoiding Etsy for right now because even though Etsy provides you a customer base, they take out a lot of fees. And then also reading about their marketing policies, where basically they choose to market your product and you still have to pay their fees. I feel like that's a little sketch. So instead, we're avoiding it for now. We mostly do custom glitter tumblers and wine glasses, but I do everything. Here I am making these keychains, and it didn't go well. Just spoiler alert. But yeah. So we are avoiding Etsy for now, but we do plan to use it next year, just to move some of our ready to ship inventory and have it listed or cross posted, I guess would be the right terminology. And but that won't be until the second quarter of next year. So right now we're just on Shopify, and then we use our social media, so Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, kind of whatever we can. We sell mostly to friends and family and people we know right now. And for when I'm talking about the cups, the decals that I sell, I actually sell to a company, and they ordered hundreds of decals at a time. So that's the bulk of our orders. And yeah, but we shifted to cups this year during the pandemic. Why not, I guess. Yeah, I'll have a whole other thing about why cups. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's so many videos about how to use a Cricut, how to use transfer tape, and how to do stuff like this. So I guess if you wanted like a specific tutorial, you could let me know and I will do that, but I don't know. That would be up to you, baby. What am I doing? I don't know. See, like stuff like this, like I don't know. Do you care? Do I care? I don't know. I watch a lot of studio vlogs, and I really like seeing how other people do things. I think that perspective in any industry is priceless. And seeing how somebody else, reuses something, or how they place something, or I don't know, where they buy things from even. It's always helpful for me because I like learning new things and seeing how people do things. But, you know, these are things that are definitely readily available on the interwebs. But I am happy to go into detail if anybody cared. I don't know. So these acrylic blanks have this paper backing on them. You have to take it off. Yep, and then here's the UV resin. I am pouring it all over everything because I had already ruined the bear keychain. I had a little, actually I think it might be in this clip, but I have a little UV flashlight that I used to use. And the reason we think that the epoxy went bad is because I sat with the UV flashlight on it for like 25 minutes and nothing was curing. It was really irritating. And yeah, I ruined all of these. I'm kind of irritated, but it's not a huge deal. Apparently UV resin only has a shelf life of 6 months. That's something I didn't know that I can share. I learned that yesterday. So it is, yeah, put that stuff on there. For UV resin, I use a popsicle stick just because I don't use it very often. But later on, you'll see for standard resin, I use stainless steel stirrers. So yeah, and then I just paint it onto the edges. I also do this with standard epoxy, or resin. I still don't know what the difference is. But so if I say resin or epoxy, I mean the same thing. The stuff that cures. But yeah, and then if it drips over, I just go in with either an X-Acto knife or a weeding tool and just kind of scoop it off the side. Because it's a piece of acrylic, it comes off super easy. It even comes off once it's cured. Sometimes I try to do it while it's wet. Yeah, see, here's this flashlight. I spent 25 minutes trying to get these to cure, and none of them did. It should only take a couple of minutes. It shouldn't take longer than that to get them at least mostly cured. So then I ordered a light off Amazon, and I didn't think it was going to be in until the next day, but it was there very soon. So I switched to that, and when that didn't work either, that's when we knew. I probably won't be buying more UV resin. I don't really like it. Yep, there's the light. And I ruined some more. I am watching Dance Moms while I work. Oh, and then I switched, the keychains and we were done. So I switched over to tumblers. I'm using a magic eraser with acetone to get the extra overspray off of the threads on the top. We found that they work the best. I do know that there's a whole thing about the magic erasers, being a scam and garbage and whatever. I don't know. We buy them. I have found them at the dollar store, so there's that. I don't know. We don't go through them very quickly, so I think it's a cost that's worth it. Here I am masking off the top of this water bottle. I don't really like the top of these bottles where they dip in. For some reason the epoxy has a really hard time curing in there, so I'm not a fan. And I just tape it off. Because this is the 4th coat, I just tape it off by eyeballing it. I don't measure or mark it. Not anymore. And then I am sanding it with this sandpaper. I buy the sheets and then I rip a piece off. Super easy, super simple. I know some people have problems sanding. This is what I do. And I used the coarser grit. I also have the finer grit, but I like the coarser grit better. I just think it works better. And I don't tend to have issues with it, so. And then of course, you know what's gonna happen is I'm gonna say something like, "Oh, I've had this issue happen over and over," and people are gonna be like, "It's because of your sandpaper." I don't know. I have also tried a Dremel recently, and I was not a fan. So, I recommend just regular sandpaper. Yeah. So here I am sanding off these tumblers. This is a new tumbler that I just started. And so before spray painting, I sand it, and then it gets just an alcohol wash. Yep, and then I painted it yellow. I love it. So this is the 2-part epoxy. I use Illuminite Clear Cast, the Amazing Clear Cast. Again, I know some people have problems with it. I know yellowing, that was my husband's hand. I know that some people have problems with yellowing or say they have problems with yellowing. I have not. I've been using Illuminite for years, over 2 years. I have personal cups that I've made, that I've kept, that I don't have problems with, so I don't know what to tell you, except that everybody has their own experience. And then my mom also has a white cup that I gave her almost a year ago, and it hasn't yellowed yet. So we are holding out on that. So yeah, so like I said, I use a stainless steel. I keep wanting to say sterling silver. That's way wrong. So I use a stainless steel stirring stick and these 1-ounce medicine cups to measure for accuracy. And then I have this 5-ounce cup to mix everything in. I only mix this much epoxy when I have all of my turners full. Otherwise, I only mix 2 ounces of epoxy at a time. When I first started and I was doing wine glasses, I did mix just like half an ounce. I think 1/4 of an ounce I was able to get away with, but since switching to tumblers, I don't mix that small of amount almost ever. So we are mixing pretty large amounts. And yeah, so I do like part A, part B, part A, part B to kind of layer them in the cup, just because they do have the different densities, and I don't have the stirrer that I use isn't very thick, so I don't know, I'm really paranoid about it not mixing right. One time I had a vendor event and we were making things like the day before, the night of, and I had a batch of cups that just didn't cure, and they were like part of a set. So yeah, I don't know, it happens to everybody, but especially with it being colder now, I can't really feel it heat up, or I feel like it's taking longer to heat up, so I don't like to wait for that anymore with it being colder. So I'm paranoid about mixing it properly. Of course, you should be using proper PPE if you're doing this, because it's a studio vlog. I don't know. What do you want me to say? Some people do epoxy barehanded. I say I would never. I'm clearly one ungloved hand in here, and that is because I am just mixing it. I mix it for 8 to 10 minutes. And I don't know why I wasn't wearing a glove. I normally wear a glove when I was mixing. It's probably because I was moving the tripod. But yeah, some people do epoxy with their bare hands. You can be severely allergic to epoxy. I've heard of people saying like, oh, if you have sensitive skin, you're going to be allergic, but I have super sensitive skin and I am not. So, I don't know. Do your research. Wear gloves. Highly recommend. Here is a mug. It is getting its first, it's just getting like a super light layer of epoxy for a glitter coat. My table is not level, so the turner tips. But anyways, I just spread on a super, super, super thin layer of epoxy, just enough to make the cup tacky, and move it around. I've seen people who heat up their cups before they do this. I do not do that, but again, to each their own. This is what I'm talking about, perspective. It's fun. And then I also realized that this camera angle is really boring as I was cutting down these clips. And it's just so boring to look at. It looks very self-serving, but it's just, I wanted to do like a straight on thing. It didn't go well, apparently. I love this pretty cup. That's part of the problem with being a crafter. I like most of the things that I make. But yeah, so I'm just spreading on epoxy on all of my cups and getting them coated. Yeah, this angle is super boring. So, like I said, we're learning together, people. So as you can see though, even though it was sanded down and it does look scary while you're doing it, or if you were watching me do it, you can see all the scratches in here, and it looks bad. It's like, excuse me, that's not what I ordered. But once you add that epoxy on top, it really have no issues, as long as you don't sand down to the spray paint or whatever you're using. So the glitter, the ink, the whatever is your top layer. But as long as you're only sanding on that top epoxy layer, I don't sand very hard, just enough to give the epoxy something to really hold on to. That's always the goal for me. See, like I kept the camera here the whole time. It's so boring. and yeah, and that decal, like, they shine right back up. It's great. It's super fun, super cool to watch happen. Like, my husband always says that it's one of his favorite things is when I go over things with epoxy. Yeah. Did I insert that clip twice? Oh well. It's 6 a.m. and I still haven't slept, so I think I inserted that clip twice. Well, you get my chatter over it. This is going back to that green mug and adding on the glitter. I have a piece of parchment paper underneath the mug to catch the glitter. And yeah, I think that this is almost over. So I don't know. I'm happy to share whatever I can. If you're interested in learning more about like how to actually make the tumblers, let me know. I can focus more on that, or on the businessy stuff like our Shopify and how we picked and everything like that. Yeah, just let me know and we'll do that. Like I said, these vlogs are kind of intended to be a little bit more informal and just kind of hanging out. Like I didn't do an intro, I didn't do an exit card either, so I'm pretty sure the video just ends at some point, and who knows? I mean, genuinely, who knows? But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow with another one. I think it's actually pretty short. I don't think I have much, but I'll have something. I'm committed. Trying to. Anyways. But yeah, I hope you have a good day, and I hope that you are staying safe and sane during these times. I forgot I added a clip of the silver. It's pretty. But yeah, until next time.